Здравствуйте! Сегодня я расскажу вам про искусство балета. Да. Позиции рук в балете.
Сюда можешь иногда.
А можно в разные,
да? Да, вот в эти две.
Да.
Комедийный балет. Принято считать, что балет зародился в Италии. Но первым представлением, которое хотели бы передать вам артистки, звучит как «пошел нахуй, колхозник ебаный». Все, что вы принесли в театр, это...
Да, и можно говорить, что да, просто как фразу говорить.
Да, ты говоришь, кто все натворил там, да? Да, сынок.
О, класс.
Я к тебе подсажу.
Сальтуху давай. Нет, не могу.
Колесо, что ли?
Давай. Все, огонь. Заебись прям, круто. Круто. Прям.
Чтобы у тебя сюда ногами зацепились. И раз, два.
Здесь всякие картины различного характера. У нас здесь студия звукозаписи.
Один у всех будет, это будет странновато. Я бы откатился к предыдущему варианту.
Вам нравится Киар?
Киар неплохой. Вопрос в том, что у нас он один. И у нас тогда все три спикера будут.
А на всех остальных в доме карта, то не карта.
Все, короче,
Там.
Теперь можно меня выставить на Авито и продать. Знаете, есть режиссеру. На NFT можете меня продать.
Потому что дверь, по идее, да, он дверь закрывает.
Нет, стрелять еще не надо.
Не, мы стрелять не будем, просто как-то на изготовку стать.
Нет, но в кого стрелять?
Патрон заряжай. Патроны.
Не надо, но оружие на изготовку взять надо, потому что неизвестно, что сейчас будет что-то.
На стороже, но непонятно.
Да, засуетились, потому что, блин, что-то происходит, но что непонятно. Третий ряд, да? Да, то есть как бы цель это солдаты, 1, 2, 3 это нумерация очереди. Готово? Камера. Камера.
Сцена 0128, кадр 3, С, дубль 1.
И начали.
Ну что, ты звезда?
Да. А в нем свежо, кстати говоря.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Richard Gray. I'm perhaps better known as the Level Lord. And I've been a game developer now for almost 25 years. Oh, a long time. I guess my first game was Duke Nukem 3D, which is probably a very popular name that everyone knows. And then after that, I've been very lucky to work on some of the games I've worked on. After Duke Nukem, I got to work on the first add-on pack for Quake 1. That was a lot of fun, actually, to make games by myself. If I had my way, I would always make games with just me as a one-person company. There's no meetings, no commuting. But when I look back now, the games were so much simpler back then to make. Duke Nukem, we had maybe 8 people, 2 level designers for the whole game. And so you had much more control over the content, and things were just more simpler. The meetings were smaller and spent more time. We spent a lot more time just focusing on the game and making it fun. So I went from Duke Nukem to an id software game. And that was a lot of fun to be able to work on that. That was my first focus before I got hired, was to work on an id game and actually work at id, but that never happened. But to be working on Quake was a real blast. I always say it's a lot like I enjoy eating pizza, but working at a pizzeria making pizza is not the same thing. And I love making games. It was one of the best jobs I've ever had, but again, it was very hard. We used to, you might not remember, but multiplayer games were played on a modem or a local network. You know, there was no internet and all that. But when the casual games started becoming very popular was when computers, the PC, everyone had one. Grandma had one. So what had happened was it wasn't the games necessarily changed, it was the environment that changed. Munfish is a good example. Before I met Rob and came to know Munfish, I had been retired for over 10 years. As most people know, I live in Moscow now. I'm with a wonderful wife and daughter. And I don't, again, because the games had gotten so complicated, I just had no care anymore. I didn't want to play them. I didn't want to see them. I could care. People would send me, oh, you've got to see this game, and they'd send me a link to a YouTube video. And if it was just a friend, I'd say, yeah. And I wouldn't look at the video. But oftentimes it's the person who's working on the game, and I'd say, oh, I'll look at it. And I would look at it, but within 5 seconds, I shouldn't say this but I would make pretend with the person that, yeah, well, it looks like a nice game. But I really didn't care for 10, 12 years about AAA, big ones. And then comes this guy on Facebook, would be friends with me. And I thought, oh, here comes another one. Because I get these about once a week, at least once a week, to look at a video. I thought, here comes another one. And he said, I've got a game that we're working on, big AAA title. We're here in Russia, even in Moscow. And here, take a look at the trailer. And I thought, okay, here we go. And this is Atomic Heart. And I went and tried, and within like 3 seconds, I'm looking at it and just like, holy cow, I couldn't believe just the stuff going on. And you just couldn't take your eye off. You're like, and you're watching something going on. Now, of course, it's a game trailer. You hear, because, well, we'll get into that later, but you're watching the game trailer, you're looking at a cool thing, and the cool thing is going past you now. And there's another cool thing coming over here, and you're still trying to think, what the hell was that going on over there? And now here comes another cool thing. And it was just a whole, I forget how long that first trailer was. This actually was the trailer that was put out in July 27th. But I thought, holy, this was the very first time I saw a trailer, and I watched the whole thing more than once. And then went on YouTube to look for more things, and continued the conversation with Rob. Rob is the CEO and co-founder of Munfish, who's doing Atomic Heart. Sorry, the name of the game is Atomic Heart. And so now here I am actually in their office in Moscow, thinking about helping on a game, a AAA title for the very first time in 12 years, because it really is a cool, if you haven't seen the well, I guess we are now considering, because here I am, I'm being asked to perhaps be the spokesperson. There's been a lot of there's no such thing as bad press. People talking about you, whether it's good or bad, it's a good thing to be talked about. But there's been, as is typical with almost every AAA title game, because of the complexity and the size, when you start the game and you make your projections for when things are going to happen, and then of course things are always late. Again, what you've seen in the game trailer is, times that by, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 times is still going on. So, you know, it's a bunch of talented people, professionals. Again, these aren't kids. They're all veterans of other big games. Well, before, again, going back to my ritual days when the industry was just starting. Most of the people that were working were young kids. Most of them, especially level designers, had no formal training whatsoever. You learned level designing by yourself at home. You'd get an editor. The artists had training, and of course the programmers. But nowadays there's schools and all that, so it's a much different type of person, your employees and the people that make up the team. But in particular here, again, I've seen things and read things online where people are saying things, and I don't know how the hell they think they know these things. But the team working on Atomic Heart is, again, veterans. They're all veterans from other big games. Me being not familiar with a lot of games because I could care less until now. I can't remember the titles, but I'm very happy to be here. Being here now at seeing what they're doing at on Atomic Heart and paying attention for the first time in 10 or 12 years. This one, though, I've been now watching very closely this game, and I'm actually here seeing stuff. And it's just amazing what the technology is doing now. Whereas earlier I was complaining about how levels, it takes more than one level designer, but that is actually a great thing. I've seen the artist making, earlier I saw an artist was not working on just a character, was not working on the character's head, not just the character's face, was focusing on working on the character's eyeball. I mean, it's come down to where every little tiny thing, and when he would pull back on the faces, it's just like, you know, it's not a photograph, but it's awfully close. And then later was watching the level designers now, and there's you know, like terrain is being built by one person, and even just the terrain, just the textured and laying out the rivers and the paths and all the different, you know, where it's green and brown. Even that itself is just looking at thinking how incredible. And then other artists are working on actually laying down trees, and then the people who are making the buildings. And what I was complaining about before has turned into maybe it was because I was in it when it was just starting. When I was in it, I was one level designer. And then there would be like 2 or 3 level designers working on one level like this. And then the artists started coming in, making models. Instead of me doing all the geometry, the artists would be making models. And of course, Atomic Heart is not the only game that has the technology. They're working with Unreal. We'll see. I think this is, I can't say, I can't put into words how I feel. I'm just very passionate about already with a lot of it has to do with the story, of course, and just go look at the trailer if you haven't seen it. If you looked at the trailer, you know what I'm talking about, and you're probably looking forward to was it the top 5? I'm not sure if it's still one of the top 5 anticipated games on Steam. People have a misconception. That's another thing that makes me mad, is this whole thing. People think open world means you have the whole earth to explore. That's not what open world means. Open world means, as I think you described, Rob, already, means it's not a linear game. You don't follow. It's an open world. And there's shit where people say, oh, but it's only this big. It's like, fuck you. It's not the whole fucking earth. It's just this section here. But anyhow, so mention that. Well, you guys can cut out. I'll say things, and then you can cut out more of the new technology. Again, seeing the level designing and the arts things that are going on, working on just the eyeball. That just fascinating. But I got to see up in St. Petersburg office, got to see the motion capture. Last time I saw motion capture, the person would put a black suit on, a black tights on, and would put little balls here and here and here, and it was just to that detail. And this evidently has the suit itself is all. It's not the cameras anymore watching the thing, watching the person move, and the camera's watching the little balls. It's the suit itself. Yeah, did I see that correctly? The suit itself is taking the data of the motion. And then there's a thing, somehow they were capturing the facial gestures too. It's just incredible how technology, but the way the things have changed so much. I sometimes think recently now, how glad I am that I have not seen anything for 10 years. Because if you watch something grow, you don't notice. But I'm seeing, like when it was here and I open it, it's like up here now. It's like, holy Yeah. And then again, on top of that, the whole reason why I'm here, all the cool technology stuff, very cool, does not make me want to make games anymore, or even necessarily play them. There's a lot of games out there with this type of technology, but it's this story of Atomic Heart, and now so many things are procedural, where actual algorithms, you will tell the algorithm what type of thing you want, like say a specific type of a biome. You know, I want a forest, a mountainy forest, and it will do a lot of that work for you. It will build the mountains and the terrain and then you can go in and tweak it, like you said, you know, I want a river here or a path here, which makes a lot of what I was seeing at first as being very complicated, now it's done by software. So that a lot of the things I was critical of 10 years ago that made me turn away from the industry, big games, the AAA. Now they've solved, of course, humans, they've solved a lot of the problems by doing it with automation and software. Things are very cool. When I first started talking with Rob and we were talking about me becoming part of the project, I said, of course, well, I want to see, because I had read online of all the different criticisms and the trolls. Most of them are trolls, even though some of them are professional. So I insisted that before I agreed to sign on, that I go and see what's actually going on. And went to St. Petersburg and spent the whole day there. Got to play a level, got to see what people have seen in the trailer. Of course, that's a year ago. And because the company's not spending time making game trailers for you people out there to see and watch what's going on, they've been working on the game. And I can't remember, Atomic Heart is a seamless level loading system. In other words, you don't just stop here and you have to wait for the next level to load. It's just a fluid kind of transition from one level to another. So I can't say there's this many levels or that many levels, but they've been doing a lot of work since the last trailer was put out, and just some really cool stuff. Some of it cooler than the stuff you've already seen. And got to play, and of course we haven't done optimization yet. You never do until towards the end. So talking about, well, you have the big machine. No, it's gonna run. We've got NVIDIA behind us. It's just, so yeah, I got to see all the new areas that nobody else has seen. I got to play a little bit of it. It really is, and then the story, of course, these guys have captured it. And this is another cool part of the game. It's just this technology of, it's not steampunk, but you know how steampunk is cool, kind of, it's just got this good feeling. It's got, if the Soviet Union had succeeded, that was better. Soviet Union did not succeed, but if they had gone more in this direction, in this alt universe, with robots, the main thing is the robots who are now doing agriculture and forestry and doing housework and security and all those things that robots are supposed to do, and then they go bad. But what they've captured in the game is this feeling of being in the old Russia, which I love, the old Soviet stuff we still have around. And it's just got, even for people from the Western world or from the East who weren't in Russia, it's just got this incredible atmosphere about it. I actually got to play the game for a little bit. I wasn't so much interested in playing the game. I wanted to see what was going on, but I did get to play. As far as feeling, has it got the good flow and just when you're walking around, it's got. I only got to play with the melee weapons for one thing. There are range weapons, but I got to play right now. The scenes the areas that they're in are more of the down underground, and you're going against the robots with and building your own weapons and stuff. And it has a very good feel to it. A lot of the hand-to-hand not hand-to-hand, but the melee weapons had a really good feel to it. And you really feel like you're beating the hell out of something, and if you don't do that quickly enough, that you're going to be in trouble. One of the other things that's probably the most appealing thing about Atomic Heart is it's something I've never seen before. Of the games I know, even recent ones, it's got nothing. The story is different than anything you've ever seen. They've captured it better than you can imagine, where you really feel Soviet. It's a story like no other story. It's not another number 3, number 4, number 5 of the same the same story, just with updated technology. This is riding on cutting edge technology, but it's a story that has never been done before, and it's being done very well. It's not just doing strange stuff just to be strange. It all makes sense, but it's still strange and keeps you wondering what the hell's going on. But yeah, it's something you haven't seen before. Go look at the trailer and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For me, the only thing I know is that the game is being worked on. There's a lot of work been done, and it's a very unique IP and story about the Soviet era that I think everyone's going to like, and it's different. Yeah, I'm very excited and looking forward to the Atomic Heart